Did
Sorry
the
to hear.
camera on your phone die as well? I know you
On
were using it for a while.
my phone creates a server, but I have to have the client running on my computer actually to be able to stream the video from it. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the part I have to get working before. 'Cause, like, my phone's fine. I could, if I was at my laptop, I could probably do it, but I'm at my computer and I'm trying to get the camera going as we're here speaking. So I figure at some point
Okay.
it'll come on, or it won't.
All right. Well, we'll get this going a little bit. We have a few things to talk about. One of the biggest things that we're looking at right now is Dark Carnival, which is coming up in October. So, Melissa, you're going to be doing a lot of talking in this one.
Oh,
So
yay!
tell us a little bit about Dark Carnival.
Well, Dark Carnival is our annual horror-themed events. It is open to all horror systems that are still in publication. So if you can buy the PDF or the hard copy of the system, it's open for use. We'll be having 2 sessions on October the 19th. Still looking for submissions from GMs, so I need emails with the name, obviously, of the GM, the system that they're using, the name of the scenario that they've come up with, and a paragraph or two telling the players what their game's about. And of course, like all of the RTR quarterly gaming events, it's free to attend, and we're hosting it at Atomic Empire, which is a really awesome gaming store in Durham. They do have quite a bit of geeky merchandise to purchase there, and snacks and beverages, including beer, if that's your thing. It's not mine, but if it's your thing, it's there. We are having a arts and crafts workshop on the 13th to try to make some decorations, some themed items for the events. Again, horror themes. So if you're a crafty person and maybe artistic, then we definitely could use your help, because I'm not artistic. That's going to be on the 13th. We're still looking for a place to host that, somewhere where we're allowed to mess with paint and glue. That would be best. Let's see. What am I forgetting?
Well, let me ask you this. Now, how many GMs have signed up for Dark Carnival so far?
So far, all I have are a few people saying I would like to maybe run this particular system. I have not had a single solitary submission with scenario title and description. Not one.
Okay.
I sent you one unless I sent it to the wrong person.
Let me check my Gmail here.
I can send it again. Like I said, I could have sent it to the wrong person, but
For my notes, how many GM slots are you looking to fill?
Well, generally we have about 5 or 6 in Dark Carnival, but this year, because we're at Atomic, they told us that they have a lot of space, and if we have the interest, we could definitely do more tables. So.
well, I'm going to send it to you again in a couple of seconds, so
Okay.
don't bother looking for it.
All right.
Well, good, good. Well, at least
Thank you, John.
you still have some open spaces, and we'll advertise that pretty good. I always look forward to Dark Carnival. It's always a fun event, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the themed events go, I hate to be partial. It's one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's the one I look forward to the most. I'm hoping to actually DM something to have fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, also too, like I said, if you can, just give me the number of tables remaining, and we'll make sure those things fill up for you. Because it's always a great event, and I think people really enjoy it.
Do we think the fact that I'm asking for the information to be emailed is a setback, or?
Well, it could be. let's do it like this. Let's kind of give it a shot for maybe another month or so.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not garnering the interest, let's kind of put our cards on the table.
Because in previous years for Dark Carnival, we just sort of done it through the event page. People say, I'd like to run a system, and I post it immediately. But other quarterly events lately have been holding off until they have all of their tables filled with GMs first, so that it's sort of even playing field. So we were going to try that this year, but like I say, so far no submissions. So
Yeah. Well, we'll change that
good.
and kind of start really beating the drum for Dark Carnival. Another couple of things that might be kind of affecting that a little bit. All of a sudden, this summer has turned kind of blown up into the mini-con event,
Yeah.
summer. Fear the Boot is coming up this weekend, which is basically um, a small mini-con at Game Theory on Saturday. And I guess they're kind of themed on a podcast that happens. Do you know anything about that, Tom or Melissa?
No.
Okay, I know Daniel was a Krinsky. I guess Sergeant, the Marine Dan was the fellow that was running that or kind of looking for people. And we got another mini-con coming up 2 weeks after that. Atomic Empire is actually doing a Atomic Con. And looking for people also. So we got a lot of activity actually in the role-playing community going. I got a heck of a scenario for everybody. Uh-oh. Can everyone hear me?
I can now. There was some strange feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, I missed the
Yeah.
entire thing about the second con you were talking about.
Okay. Kind of repeat it again. I started having network difficulties. A little red thing came down and everything. Atomicon is one of Atomic Empire's first mini-cons. They're doing role-playing games, I think, all tabletop games and stuff like that. And the thing about it is that all these cons are kind of, I guess, right in front of Dark Carnival, so it's kind of, I think a lot of interest is probably being focused on what's happening right now in the community, which is good, these little, miniature, cons are a nice thing, but, whenever you're trying to do one of your own, it kind of gets in the way sometimes.
We did notice, like in the past, that having similar events too close in schedule does cause a problem, such as like Free RPG Day being right next to Crimson Boar,
Yeah.
It's hard to get gamers to look past the next event to the one after that. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about, too, doing stuff with Atomic Empire. I've been trading emails with Jennifer Bedell, I guess, one of the people that manages the store. Very nice person, and, now, I kind of talked to her, and now RTR is sponsored by, Atomic Empire. So, and it's pretty nice to be able to kind of make that kind of connection and everything. So, hopefully, everything will fall into place and everything. So, I'm looking forward to it all. Also, too, talk to us a little bit about the Briar Creek meetup, the casual meet at Briar Creek.
The casual meet at Briar Creek. We do this every month or two, and we're doing it this Saturday, the 17th. Well, it'll be a week from Saturday, I should say, the 17th. We go to Frankie's Fun Park, and they have a restaurant and a bar, which is all good, but more importantly, there's an arcade, there's mini golf, there are go-karts, so we basically just go there and geek out and have a good time.
Ah, fantastic. Now, when is it this time?
It's on Saturday the 17th at 4 p.m., and we're usually there for several hours, so.
We'll get going.
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, other than that, this last Raleigh casual meet was one of our largest too. We came back with a final count of about 41 people who had come in, so we kind of overran It's a Grind again, and everything. So I'm really enjoying seeing all the new faces, and it seems like for the last few casual meets, we've been getting a lot of new people in and stuff like that. Seems, to be pretty exciting.
Have we heard from Michael and Jamie, the two people who were just there for coffee that we kind of roped in?
No, not yet. We gave him cards and everything, so hopefully, he'll get around to, joining up, which would be nice. He's a nice fellow and everything like that, and probably one of the few GURPS players around that, professes that they, like the game and everything. So I hopefully, he'll join up. It's a great place to, meet people, and I think they were kind of new to the, area too. So hopefully they'll, decide to join in.
I think they said they've been in the area for about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just haven't really found any gamers to hook up with, I think.
That kind of reminds me of Jacob and Joyce Carpenter. They kind of were in the area and kind of at a loss for meeting people and joined RTR, and all of a sudden their friend circle kind of blossomed. And unfortunately for Jacob, he was going to college, but he was in the ROTC program or an Army program, so he ended up having to leave the area. He comes back every so often, but that kind of accentuates the idea that RTR is a great place to meet a lot of friends really quick. So hopefully Michael and Jamie will kind of come in and everything. But anyway, too, kind of talking about gaming a little bit. I was talking to Tom, and I'm on the hunt for some players for my Players and Pieces game. So if you know anybody, I'm looking for some people. And we play on Thursdays, kind of oscillating with the Wildlings game that we've been playing, which has been a pretty great game, actually.
Yeah. I agree. I will ask around. I know that me, right now, I think I've hit my saturation point for committed long-term games. So
yeah.
And you guys warned me I would hit that, too, about 2 months ago.
Yeah, we'll game you to death if you don't watch it. But that's the thing about it, though. Having to feel like that in a way, tells us that we're doing things right. We got a lot of games going, and a lot of people are interested in playing. So, like I said, that's my little stab at trying to find some more players.
I've been trying to convince some of the people that seem to be using the forum that using the calendar works a lot better, because I know I've been hearing a couple of people saying they've struggled to get people through the calendar, through the forums, because people don't respond very well. And so I've been trying to tell them, you're better off picking a date on the calendar and throwing it up there and see who joins it.
Yeah, that's what we usually try to tell people is, the message boards are great, but, the only thing, we can do is, advertise the games or the events on there every so often, like we do. Every other week we try to get something out saying, well, here's a list of your, the games that are on the message boards. So,
And the most important thing is, if you're looking for players, is to go to a casual meetup.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's mainly that's why we have the casual meets in the first place, is to kind of meet the people and meet people that you really want to play with. I'm thinking about doing a lot more try-it-outs too, so I'd like to kind of get some people into the gaming mix and see how they do. The mouse guard game last Sunday went really well, I thought, and John was part of that too. So did it kind of open your mind up to new gaming possibilities, John?
Well, it made me feel a lot better about the system than compared to the first run of it. So I actually enjoyed it a lot. It takes some getting used to, and I think if I were to take that to any of my other gaming groups, it'd probably take some trying to get people in the right mindset for it, because it's not like any of the games I really play. But like I haven't played Fate or any other things were like that. So
mouse guard is a big change. Even Melissa can tell you that. And Melissa was one of my first little mice that played. during the first couple of try-it-outs, Melissa was one of the ones that would, jump into these try-it-outs and everything. You have a copy of the game, don't you, Melissa?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I ran it once at the GM fair too.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
And everything. You ran the Grass Lake scenario, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. With the giant snapping turtle.
Yeah. Yeah. How well did that go? I never asked you about that.
It went really well. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, they didn't try to fight the turtle. That would have been suicide.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I kind of used the Shrike scenario on these guys that played it this last Sunday. So
I remember the Shrike. Very nasty bird. It picks you up and throws you on the spikes. It's not nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were playing, and it's just like, I don't know, I guess I've been playing too much Call of Cthulhu, because I didn't want to fight anything. And
that'll happen.
I think I ended up screwing over the party, because I just run away. This is the right thing to...
I think Call of Cthulhu gives people post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Well, John.
Yeah.
No, I think I was completely rational.
I have to agree with that.
But yeah.
Yeah, John's character actually found a little small melted bit of snow to run into and hide. Yeah, but you did earn a check from that, you know.
I think we were doing better in the second one. In the first one, I just no one really. I think we had one person that really has a decent fighting skill, and I wasn't sure if you could help people who are fighting, because I was like, I can't fight. It's like you're trying to take on two things that are fighters, and we're not fighters. We're trackers and pathfinders and trailblazers. We're not fight things. And so if we had a party if we had picked fighting people, it probably would have been different. But I think only one person really had one. Yeah.
Yeah. Each time I play Mouse Guard, though, I always get the temptation of, I'd like to play a campaign of this, eventually, and everything. And I'm kind of getting that itch a little bit, but I'm trying to leave my load at 2 campaigns right now. So I'm having a lot of fun with the Wildlings campaign, and I'm just trying to get my Players and Pieces campaign going for a second season. I'm really proud of that one. I just want to make sure it's successful, but if the Wildlings game comes to an end, that might be a campaign I might think about in the interim between seasons with that.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying the Wildlings one.
Oh yeah.
I feel as though there's a lot more tension in this one than the Call of Cthulhu game.
Oh really?
I feel like it.
At least there's no.
I mean, from my perspective, I guess I wasn't playing a character that was causing a lot of tension in the previous one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But recently I've been playing characters that have been more contentious than I have in the past. I should say that. I'm playing in 2 campaigns, and I've never really played a character who was like that until recently. So
contentious players? I'm not familiar with contentious players, right, Melissa?
I always cooperate with everyone fully in the party, always. I never cause my GM stress or do things that are unpredictable.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah. So those games are going pretty well. And another thing. Oh, go ahead, Melissa.
I think we should throw a pitch for Richard's maps. One of our members has a Kickstarter that he's created. He's a graphic artist, Richard Taylor, and on Kickstarter it's called the Premium RPG Maps by Rats Mats. And they are looking for backers. They're trying to raise $9,000. These are premium maps. They're really good art. It's on unique canvas material that they have a patented printing process on, and it's completely sealed, so you can wrap your maps up just like a piece of canvas. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and he's actually come to a few casual meets and kind of showed them off. So they are very quality maps and everything like that. So I'm throwing in on it a little bit. So hopefully he'll get enough backing to make that become a reality.
I plan on actually getting one and sending it to
And everything, but and he's
Eric lagging, or is this just me?
hoping to grow.
Eric's having connection issues.
Yep.
All right.
So the one of the ship, actually, a friend of mine has continually tried to steer games towards nautical themes. So I'm going to pitch in and get the ship deck plans and actually give those to my friend framed for like Christmas if I can.
Oh, cool.
Back in
nice.
West Virginia. Yeah, kind of a taunt because I think I'm the only nautical game that let it go nautical, although he does it to every game he's in. He's like really into piracy and all that. He really wants to play a pirate game so bad he tries to make it become one. So I'm going to taunt him and gift him with one of those maps, I think. So.
Richard gave me one of his first prototypes. It's one of the traveler ship plans, so it's pretty cool. I'm happy with it.
Oh, I think I saw that one. The trader one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that was from Melissa actually running a traveler game a little while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Traveler's complicated, so I do like to play it, but no. The books I have are Mongoose. I have played I've played old school. I've played Mega Traveler before, and an earlier edition. Andy used to run try-it-outs for them, so.
I've got like the old Traveler Society magazines, the little 4x3s that were like their version of Dungeon or Dragon, and the Black Book, and yeah, I love the system, but I don't think I could ever play it again.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind me segueing, what are we going to do about the North Raleigh meetup and what happens after it's a grind? Because the 15-minute drive to the sawmill kind of felt disconjointed.
Yeah, because that was 15 minutes away from my house. Further away from my house. So.
Well, that was kind of a quick plan to try to do something. I'm thinking that it's the tap room situation may be temporary. I'm not really sure. I'm hoping not. I'm thinking maybe another restaurant will eventually go in there, and hopefully something that's very similar to what we had with the tap room. But in the meantime, we didn't really explore out what other restaurants were in that are in that block either. So it may do me or somebody just to go in there and kind of scout out what Tijuana Flats seems to be like, or there's another couple of restaurants I think on the other side. So like I said, or just up the road. Or there's something up the road too. There's another actually was it a Carolina Ale House? That's a little bit on down, a little bit closer to where we're at. So.
Yeah, I think the other way. I think there may be. I'm trying to remember what's the other way, but there's some stuff closer to the belt line, and then there's stuff closer to 540.
Yeah, there's the Tribeca Tavern, I guess, which is a little bit up the road, but still a little bit closer. But I'm not really impressed with the Tribeca.
I think the Carolina Ale House might be a good one though.
Yeah, but then again, like I said, I'm hoping that maybe for a couple of 3 months, that maybe having to go somewhere, not within the vicinity of It's a Grind, you know, this might be simply a temporary thing. So it kind of disappointed me though. I was a little bit surprised, that the tap room, our tradition, has gone away.
Yeah, yeah. That. I mean, I can't complain about the Sawmill. The food there was fine to me. I like the food there. So
Yeah, it was a little bit more of a trip than I think we
yeah,
realized. So, I don't think we'll be doing the sawmill again, but we will be looking at, area, venues a little bit closer in. And like I said, I'm crossing my fingers that something will come in where the tap room was, and we can continue going there. We certainly have given them enough business.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sadness ensues.
Oh, of course you do.
But
Well, one thing I wanted to promote is that there's now a couple of groups in G Plus on Google Plus that are doing online gaming. It's
oh
like
really?
one's the Hangout RPGs, which they have sections for like just traditional games, or even a section for Fiasco. And then there's I know that there's a couple of D&D groups, like the D&D Next group has over 1,000 members in it.
Oh really?
So if you're interested in just doing one shot of the playtest and you don't have any other way of getting the opportunity, there's a number of people that are running games there. Um, so I just wanted to I'll put a link to some of those places over on the side.
Okay. All right. That sounds pretty good. It's always good to have an alternative just in case that.
Yeah, sometimes it makes it a little easier for the type of game you want to do, because there's a lot of one shot. So if you just want to do something where you don't commit, you want to do a lot of gaming, but you don't really want to do anything where there's a heavy commitment, it
Hmm.
works out pretty good.
Well, that sounds pretty great. Especially when you don't have a lot of time either. When you have children, it's hard to get a lot of time to do some gaming away too, because coming to and from takes time and takes time away from a lot of things. But that's a good plug and everything. Is there anybody looking to host any games? Tom, when is that Fate game going to come around? When's that Dresden Files game you were talking about going to come around?
Actually, those are still in the works. I think some people here are familiar with some things that are happening in real life.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for me to say I'm not going to make a session than it is for me to cancel a session.
Yeah.
So until some stuff stabilizes, I'm not going to drag people through the mud.
Yeah. I was talking to Allie about, it's kind of an idea that I had for a Dresden Files game. But then again, it'd probably do me to kind of read some of the books first before I kind of jump into doing anything like that.
Well, I'm going to tell you that if I run a game, it's going to take place during the Vampire Court War rather than after.
Okay, now you got it to where I need to read the books now.
Yeah, you don't, because afterwards the world changes, and the author hasn't really established really how things have changed on the ground. Butcher has the story has power creep.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So when the war comes to an end, you find out more about what's happening at the higher levels of power than you do about what's happening on the streets. You get little tantalizing hints, though, and it doesn't look good at all, but it's not enough for you to go. If you want to stay somewhat canon and keep your players that are really into the series happy, you're probably going to run into conflict there. So the Vampire Court War is probably the safest place to run it, which is the setting that is in the books that Evil Hat published. So,
nice.
Lather, babbling. I'm good at it.
Well, Melissa, is there anything you're looking at in the future?
No, I'm working one game at a time right now.
Oh, you're not
Yeah.
not a game junkie anymore?
Well, no.
No.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to put more of my creative energy in the current game I'm running, and yeah, I'm not juggling multiple pins at the same time right now.
Yeah. And that's wise. A lot of times too, it's easy to kind of get overcommitted, and I know that, first person,
Mhm.
From the guy here who's run 4 campaigns all at the same time,
I
you
know.
know, you can really, really tap your, creative energies really fast by doing that. Well, how about you, John? You doing any jamming, or are you kind of just playing right now?
Same thing I've been doing is like I do a Saturday D&D next campaign every other week. Um, I'm since I volunteered to do the Encounters program this season, and they decided that Encounters is going to be done completely different this season.
Hmm.
It's going to take a little bit more effort than previous Encounter seasons have. Preparation as far as like preparation time.
Well, how are they changing up the encounters this time?
Well, I mean, outside of they are now kind of giving you a campaign setting with it's like when you have to effectively purchase a book that's the campaign setting and that contains the adventures. They're not like as railroady as they were in previous seasons, where you could just come in and grab the part of the thing for your today's session and run with that. You kind of have to either know Waterdeep really well or have the campaign setting, because it kind of does. It's a sandbox more than it is like a linear adventure like it was in the past.
That's
So
pretty interesting. That's a very interesting departure, from what they've been doing. Now, it's not. Is it going to be optional between playing D&D Next and Fourth Edition, or
the
are they moving everything into the next rule set?
you have the option of running it in 3.5, 4th edition, or D&D Next.
Uh, that kind of surprises me that they're trying to go back to 3.5 and allow that.
Well, I think they're trying to do a lot more stuff without being like specific to edition.
Hmm.
Um, so like you D&D Next is pretty much being built using so that you could take adventures from first and second edition and run it as is. I mean, it'll be if you wanted it to get the exact thing, you would have to tweak some, but you could just take most of it and just run with it. Some
Hmm.
things will be too hard, other things might be too easy. But
Right.
for the most part, the numbers kind of fall in line. Like rogues are going to be better now than they were in first and second edition, because rogues were useless in first and second edition, and they're not useless now. Or at the level of play that you're running stuff at one through that low level, rogues are completely useless. And D&D Next, they are the opposite of that.
You have that look on your face, Melissa. Do you disagree?
Uh,
I mean,
Controversial.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Um, and also too, there's a lot of new stuff that seems to be coming out. Call of Cthulhu 7th edition should be here in October, and I'm hoping that they get their act together enough to have my little copy in my hot little hands so I can run my scenario that I'm looking at for Dark Carnival then too. So. But for what they've done to Cthulhu for this edition, seems to be pretty exciting. I'm really much looking forward to it. Any new games that you're looking at, Tom? Anything you're going to buy and play?
Um, I sound boring. No, not really. Some Kickstarter stuff is coming in, but it's mostly board game related. I'm
Oh, really?
excited about that. Yeah. Um, a game called Get Bit. It's the sequel walk the plank.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically walk the plank. Has anybody here played like Robo Rally? Or the Star Wars TIE Fighter mini game that they just came out with? Basically, you program your actions, and then everybody gets to run their actions in sequence, but nobody knows anybody else's program until you run it. And you're trying to push all the other players' pirates off the plank before your pirates go off the plank. But, of course, because you're programming your actions ahead of time and then playing through them, chaos ensues. And then, and then that's the prequel, but the original game is Get Bit, and it is a shark race game where you don't have to be faster than the shark, you just have to be faster than everyone trying to outswim it. So, it's, yeah.
Did Will Wheaton play that on his tabletop show?
Will Wheaton did play Get Bit.
I did see it. Okay.
Yes. He did tweak the rules a little bit to make it a little easier to follow for the viewing audience, but yeah, that was Get Bit. So the prequel is coming out. You saw his Formula F1, right? The racing game that he did?
No.
I was going to say kind of like that.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of like that. So, anywho, I'm just, right now, I am so bogged down with some real-life stuff, and then enjoying games, probably like 2 games a week. So, I'm happy with that right now. I'm a lazy player.
Well, speaking about tabletop, I was kind of curious, about the program, but I never really thought to watch it until the other night. Allie and I are kind of catching up on a series called Eureka, and one of the actors actually was in tabletop as one of the players for Ticket to Ride and everything. So I kind of sat down and we kind of watched the Dragon Age session that they were doing, which was pretty interesting, which was pretty funny too, because one of the characters one of the actors was a character in Being Human, the United States version of it. Yeah, and it's just fun. It's funny, you look at this guy and you're thinking, he's a geek, man. He's played D&D before by the way he was acting, and it kind of goes against the grain for what you imagine, he would be like. But it was a pretty interesting session for what I've seen of it. So I'm gonna have to sit down and watch some more episodes of it. But
I know the one they did with the one lady that's from Warehouse 13. It was like some revolution or something like that.
The Resistance.
Resistance. Oh man, that was one of my favorite ones.
Actually,
don't trust the redheads.
Yeah. Actually, Ron Rossbach actually has that game. He's brought it to a couple of casual meets back when, and everyone seemed to really enjoy it. So. Speaking
of Ron, we probably should pitch the RTR Game Days coming up on Sunday, August 11th and the 18th. RTR Game Day is sort of like a mini 2-session campaign, try it out basically, where they play a game twice, just so you get to try the system out. This month here in August, the 2 systems they're trying out are Exalted and Champion. So if you've been curious about those games, or if you just want to, play them, if you have nostalgia for them, you can sign up, free to play, of course. And they're playing at the Gamers Armory in Cary again on the 11th and the 18th.
Who's running Champions? Do you remember?
Rick Hunt.
Oh, really?
And Joe Carr is running Exalted. So.
Exalted. Now, he's run Exalted before at Game Days, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of good. I've heard a lot of good things about that game. So it sounds like he's really, he's really into the system and everything.
Yeah, I got playing his other one. It was a lot of fun.
And I also too remember when Tom used to. Oh, come on. There. Remember too when Tom used to do something. Used to do something. You used to actually have a you used to have a background with a lot of your gaming books, and Champions looked like it was one of them. So you're an old Champions player, right, Tom?
Actually, I have the champion books, but I did not actually play champions that much. I was more of a DC Heroes by Mayfair Games and TSR's version of Marvel. Champions was very crunchy, and I couldn't get my friends into it, so it kind of settled. It kind of became background material.
Yeah.
But no, I'm this Sunday, and let's see, okay. I'll have to debate that because Champions is a great system, and Exalted is like anime and Champions locked in a closet. So
I've never heard that, but I've heard that Exalted is a pretty involved game and everything. So
It's very strange.
But,
I've played. It was very different than it. Because it seems like everything was over the top. Like when he says anime, it does feel a little like anime.
oh, does it?
yeah,
It's very much an Eastern-inspired demigod game. You have it's very similar to World of Darkness because it's White Wolf. You have dice pools, but your dice pools are massive. You're demigod, so you have a lot of power, and the things that your characters can do are pretty crazy. But you're also rewarded additional dice pools for describing your actions in really cool ways. So if you can work the scenery or objects into your description, you get more dice. So the more crazy and out there your character's combat actions are, the more dice you get to roll.
Ah.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of D&D like players. Because this is like I had a power that if I could not be detected if I was sitting on someone's couch. Just couldn't be. No one never noticed I was there. If I could like say hi and like a couple of seconds later they would have forgot I'm there. As long
is this
as I'm
Exalted?
Yeah, as long as if it was a party, I could get in no matter what. And if I could always let someone will always let me bum a place on their couch. And if I was on their couch, they just didn't notice I was there. It was like an odd power just to have.
I had a
Believe it
character.
or not, go ahead. Sorry.
I had a character who was a specialist in tea ceremonies. I could talk you into anything. But I also had Whirling Dervish fans, so I could fan dance and kill you if it came to that.
Yeah, so it's just like some of the stuff is like very over the top.
Uh-huh, yeah.
It is the first stage of the World of Darkness. So.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's one of their first games, wasn't it?
And we lost. No, it's one of their last games before they killed the original World of Darkness.
Oh,
but if you go to like, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say there was a floating theory back with a lot of my Overwatch friends that Exalted was actually the first stage of the World of Darkness, because you had the wild, you had all the creation going on, and then you go into mankind taking the place of the Exalted demigodness. Because all the pieces are there, and then you go to Ars Magica, where the Tremere are one of the houses, and then you go to Dark Ages, where the Tremere steal vampirism from somebody, and then you go to the modern Victorian Gaslight, then modern, and then blah blah blah, and then the world ends. So Exalted is actually part of the World of Darkness, just at the very, very beginning.
Oh, interesting.
If you think Mage is a high-powered game, yeah, Exalted blows that out of the water. So.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about Exalted, but I've heard sometimes though Exalted could get out of hand, and some of the.
It's far, far too crunchy and combat-y for my tastes.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever take a step with it, but it sounds like an interesting game.
At least try it out once. Hey, I know where you're going to be this Sunday.
Well, this Sunday I'll be somewhere else other than in Raleigh, though. I'm having to go out of town. Yeah, but I'd like to try it. Maybe on the backswing on the second session. If they have any empty seats, I might give it a shot and see if they're willing to teach a newbie player how to play it.
And the champion game, is that Rick Hudson or Rick Hunt?
Rick Hunt.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you said Rick Hudson because his background was champions. That's why I was.
No. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Rick Hunt is kind of a grognard player. He gets into the older systems a little bit and everything. But he's a good guy, though. I haven't had the pleasure of playing, in one of his games, but I've heard good things and everything. But anyway, kind of to wrap things up a little bit. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on, especially for RTR. Another thing that we'll be looking at too, going toward January, is our next themed event, and we're kind of piecing that together. So we'll probably announce it, around the time Dark Carnival hits. So, it seems to be pretty interesting and pretty exciting. So, but other than that, that's all the news and views that I have. Anyone else have anything they want to talk about?
No, I'm good.
You're good. All right.
Actually, both of you guys are good. I agree.
But anyway, I'll go ahead and end the broadcast here. I appreciate y'all coming in, and sorry we didn't have Richard come in. I think he wanted to talk about a couple of things, but so he must have gotten hung up with life and everything. But we'll catch him on the next one. But anyway, y'all take it easy, and I'll see you next month on RTR News and Views.